Iowa football's 2023 recruiting class humming along. Another commitment here on this Saturday. We're talking to you here on February 26th. We'll get to the commitment from Indiana native Leighton Jones in a moment. Before we do so, a reminder, please hit the subscribe button if you have not already subscribed to our channel. We want to thank everybody that helped us get to 1,000 subscribers. Please continue to spread the word about our post-game show with Coach Gary Close. And, of course, we're over at Iowa at the Voice of College Football during football season for Iowa postgame with Coach Don Patterson. Always a good time on each of these channels. So the big news today, Iowa football lands another commit from another, you could say, underrated prospect, but rising prospect. Leighton Jones out of Brownsburg, Indiana. 247 Sports has him as the 6th best player in the state of Indiana, the 53rd best interior offensive lineman in his class. Playing tight end and defensive end primarily in high school. But my understanding, according to Blair Sanderson of Rivals, Jones reportedly spoke with Sanderson regarding his commitment and basically laid out that, look, he wanted to be a center. Iowa wanted him as a center. A lot of a lot of group of 5 offers and a lot of offers to be a defensive lineman. That was not in Jones' plan. So he heads to Iowa to be a center. He turns down the likes of Purdue and a number of other Power 5 schools that had not offered. Now, Purdue did offer late. I will read you off the offer list according to Rivals. Of course, Iowa offering and, of course, getting the commitment. Purdue offered recently. Those are the 2 Power 5 offers. Also reported Power 5 interest from Wisconsin, Notre Dame, Indiana, West Virginia, Nebraska, Illinois, so some good programs in there, and I would guess that some of those programs may still offer. Western Michigan offered, Toledo offered, Kent State, Miami, Ohio, Illinois State, Eastern Kentucky, Central Michigan, Ball State, Bowling Green, all offered Leighton Jones. And again, you see now this trend, and it's possible for guys to commit early and decommit. But fairly early commitments here. I mean, we're still fairly early in 2022 to get these commitments. And, I look back at Chase Brackney, I look at Alex Moda, and now with Leighton Jones, you could argue all 3 of those guys are on their way to more offers. But Iowa's doing a nice job early here securing these commitments. And again, that doesn't stop. The work does not stop. They got to continue to recruit to maintain those pledges. But good work early for George Barnett, Kirk Ferentz, and this entire staff. What does Iowa get with Leighton Jones? I am by no means an offensive line guru. I'm going to leave that for Kirk Ferentz. He is an offensive line coach by trade. Certainly George Barnett is more than qualified as well. I'm going to trust those guys' judgment. The first thing that I saw Leighton Jones on tape, I'm thinking to myself, boy, this is a big kid. I mean, he's listed according to Rivals at 265, which you may say, well, that's pretty good size for an offensive lineman. I guess I'm sort of in the frame of mind of Austin Blythe, who, of course, has made a very successful career in the NFL. He was around 6'1", maybe 6'2". Tyler Linderbaum about 6'3". Jones a bit taller, 6'4". But if you look at some of the best centers in the league, Creed Humphrey from Kansas City being at the top of the list, I think he's listed at 6'5". Typically, your center is probably your smallest offensive lineman, but Jones has plenty of size, and that's not a bad thing. 6'4", 265 coming out of high school. Again, he projects more as an interior offensive lineman, specifically at center, according to Jones. Again, he spoke with Blair Sanderson. But I would guess, from what I'm seeing on tape from Jones, they like what they see as far as it relates to finishing plays. We obviously know Tyler Linderbaum, known for finishing plays. Leighton Jones has the athleticism, certainly to play that position at an elite level, which is what we saw from Tyler Linderbaum. And Leighton Jones is a tremendous wrestler. In fact, he finished 3rd in his heavyweight class in the state of Indiana. That is an impressive feat for a very athletic state. 3rd in the state of Indiana as a junior. It will be interesting to see if Jones can make a similar impact or even close to the impact that Tyler Linderbaum made. Of course, Iowa really likes those kids up front who are also wrestlers and dual sport athletes, and that is exactly what Leighton Jones is. You look at him on tape, he's not going to blow you away with speed. He's not going to blow you away with burst. But again, he's got athleticism. He's been playing tight end and defensive end. He's big. He's a wrestler. I mean, I think that basically tells the story right there. I'm not going to go into some deep dive about a position that, frankly, I'm not very knowledgeable about. Okay, I'm willing to admit that. But again, Kirk Ferentz and George Barnett, if there's one position where you should not ever question Kirk Ferentz as it relates to evaluating a recruit, it would be offensive line. And certainly Kirk has done a great job over the years at the center position. Certainly with Brian Ferentz, who is exceptional here. We know James Ferentz has made a good living in the league, as has Austin Blythe, and soon, very soon, Tyler Linderbaum. Of course, across the board up front on that offensive line, Iowa has been very successful in targeting talent and then, of course, developing them into NFL products. And certainly Leighton Jones has an opportunity to do that. He's got the physical attributes to be able to be a very, very good center at Iowa. And if it doesn't work out at center, my guess is that they could move him to left or right guard. But according to Jones, they like him at center. So a good get for Iowa. And this class, by the way, of course, Iowa, for that 2023 class, now up to 6 commitments. So Marco Lainez, of course, the 4-star quarterback from New Jersey, Alex Moda. We talked to him earlier in the month, just last week, actually, on this show. He projects as a wide receiver at the next level. Ben Queter from Iowa City at linebacker. Maddox Borcherding Johnson also will be coming in 23 as a defensive lineman. And then, of course, Chase Brackney from Colorado as an edge rusher who could end up moving inside. We'll see. He's also a big body. And now you've got Leighton Jones. So a very balanced class so far. The class is humming right along. We don't see any defensive backs. Iowa, of course, did very well at that position in 2022. I thought they've done well at defensive back for several years. They're in a good spot now these next couple of years at that position. Not to say they're not going to grab a couple more bodies here in this class, because they will. But I think they look good at that position. We'll see what they do at running back. I know they're working hard. The reports are they're working hard on a couple guys at running back. Of course, they got Jazian Patterson and Caleb Johnson in as well. But we even saw Iowa somewhat active at that position in the portal, trying to go after Nate Pete from Stanford, who later committed to Mizzou. But a very balanced 23 commitment list so far. We will be here to break every commitment down, every signing down in December. So again, please subscribe. And if you haven't already done so, please like this video. You're also welcome. We much appreciate it. If you donate to the channel, you can see on the bottom ticker there, it's in the description. There's a link to donate to the channel in the description below. So appreciate you joining us. We'll be back for Iowa postgame with Coach Gary Close Monday night, following a big senior night in Iowa City for Iowa's game versus Northwestern, and my top 25 that actually makes sense Sunday night. So plenty of content on the way.